Okay, then. Thank you, everyone, for connecting to this BTV Talks. I will let Fernando give a warm welcome to Jeremy Rawitz and give you a little bit more context on what we're going to be doing today.
Thanks, Leo. I'll let you give the context. I just wanted to let everyone know how special it is for me to have Jeremy here with us. He's become a really good friend of ours, of mine in particular, and of Buen Trip. We had the chance to meet him online during the pandemic 3 years ago, right around the time of our first Opportunity Summit. Well, when he was still leading, he'll give you more background, but head of sales at Techstars, the global accelerator. And since then, Jeremy has decided to move to Ecuador, buy a house in Cuenca, and leave Techstars. And now he's an active mentor in our programs. So the guys, all the ones that are going through our current cohort know him really well. And I'm glad to see that you're all back for more from Jeremy. You just couldn't have enough. But Jeremy, it's great to have you here. Welcome, and thank you for all you do for Buen Trip and for the community at large.
Thank you. Well, welcome everyone. My name is Jeremy Rawitz, and as Fernando said, up until about 1.5 years ago, I led the global sales team at Techstars and built many accelerators around the world. And before that, I was doing a lot of sales training, scaling up startups. So that's really quickly my background. However, today I'm not in Cuenca, I'm in Massachusetts. So you could probably tell by the background, it's a little bit different. So I'll stop there. Leo, or I don't know who you want to lay out the format and we'll get started.
So as most of you know, there was some pre-work for the session because the big challenge that Jeremy had for this one is trying to understand what was the common ground of what would be the main things that he would talk on this session. So the content of the session is going to have a bias to everyone that actually answered the questionnaire with your selling methodology and your your main selling problem. So Jeremy is just gonna move forward to talking about things where he stresses this is the most important things, but anyone can ask questions anytime, and I'm gonna try to make my best effort to moderate this to make an interesting conversation for the next 53 minutes that we have left. So what we're going to be talking is pretty much has to do with what many of you have answered.
Well, let me do it this way then, Leo. Perhaps what I'd be interested in is really quickly, maybe from 5 or 6 people, if there's a situation currently where they're stuck and it's not moving forward, and maybe we can spend a couple minutes on discussing why and how to move things forward. So the really focus of the session would be how to get unstuck when they're not responding, they're not getting the answers you want, your sales cycle's too long, things like that. Would that be okay?
Sure.
All right, somebody's okay. Stephanie, you're first.
Yes. Thank you, Jeremy. Hi. Yeah, we do have a situation where we are a little stuck. We're actually we're connecting online sellers that want to increase sales with content publishers that are interested in creating content or publishing content that recommends products. So like best presents for Mother's Day or best running shoes or best things like that. So they can start monetizing basically through affiliate marketing, which is currently basically inexistent in Latin America. Okay. So the online seller side went really well. We were able to add great brands. But then when we got to the publisher side, it was a really hard, more than a sell, like process to work with them. What was going on is that they didn't understand very well how this would benefit them. Like they're not familiar with like CPA or like earning money whenever sales happen. And then when we were sending the content to them for them to publish after we had agreed on like what this content would be, there were issues with like how it was being published, like when it was being published, it took too long, or it did not have like a sales button, a click here to go to the product. You only have like part of the text that was in a different color that you would click on, but certain things that lead to conversions were not happening. Yeah, and we're stuck there. And I don't know if this is exactly sales, so maybe you don't really have an answer for me, but I thought I'd bring it up just in case.
Okay, no, that's fine. Let me ask a few questions to see if I have, some ideas. So the conversion, is that from your end or their end? I'm just trying to understand what's the technology there? It's your responsibility to put a conversion button, or
yeah, no, it's a good question. So basically we're doing the tracking. So like we're operating as an affiliate network where we do the tracking and we bring the online sellers and the publishers on board. But we're going one step further and we are creating the content ourselves, like using some tools that we have in AI. We pull together the products that are going to be recommended in that article, and we send the article with the right format to be published.
Okay, so what's the challenge? I don't hear a sales issue. What's happening with the publishers then? What?
So part of it is like it's a very fragmented client where like the people that usually have to agree with us on whether they're going to publish the product are not the same people that are actually coordinating with the teams that have to go and actually put the content on the sites. So like there's some fragmentation there. And then the other thing that is happening is that when they publish, it doesn't look like we want it to look like, and sometimes they're not doing it on time. So,
okay. They're not doing what you want it to look like on time.
Correct. A, they're not doing it on time, and B, when they do it, it doesn't look like what we want it to look like. And it's important that it looks the way we want it to look, because that drives conversions. You know, like if you don't have a big button that you can click on to go to the e-commerce site that sells the product, then you're not going to make any money. But they're not putting those buttons there, or they're not putting the pictures in the right size, or they're messing up with just like the format in general.
Okay.
So we have a timing issue and a how it looks issue. And the reason that's happening is partly because the people we talk to are not the same people that are in charge or managing the teams that do the publishing.
Okay. Got it. And are you losing sale? I mean, you're losing revenue, but are they not signing contracts? What's the final problem here?
They're not going after the next publication, and we're not able to like see improvement because they publish, it goes nowhere, of course, like it has barely has any clicks, doesn't result in any sales, and they're like, okay, this sucks, like just as I thought. This is not a good source of monetization. Like I already thought this wasn't a good source. This is confirming that it's not monetizing, and it basically dies down there. And yeah.
So when you were in the sales process and you're talking to the team that's going to buy from you, what does it sound like, in your words, because you know there's an implementation team, what does it sound like to get the buy-in from when you're speaking to them, because you know you're going to work with the other team? Tell me what words you use so that you can assure that you're working with the right team and you get their attention. What does that sound like when you're in your sales process?
To be honest, that's not in our sales process. Like we're only trying to get the person that has to say yes or no to say yes or no, and we haven't actually incorporated anything about how we need to work with the team or what we need from them.
Okay, so.
Like
so
we're
again,
saying, we'll send you the content and it will be ready for you to publish, not ready for you to publish, but it will like have the format and everything. And then that's what we need from you to actually publish it. But yeah, that's a good question because we never spoke about what we need from the team.
So when you're, so I have a very distinct process when I'm selling, and this would fit into where I would call my decision step. And it's very important that, of course, you're sitting with the final decision maker who's going to pay the money, but I think you need to, when you're in that step, and I guess this is very high level, to think a little bit about asking your final decision maker, this is important, and this isn't going to work unless we have the other team here. If and this is one technique you can try. I've often used it in the past. If we were sitting in a round table, and round is a reason, who else should be in on this decision? That would be important to know so that it goes very smoothly and they know what their responsibilities would be. And if they say the implementation team, well, would it make sense to have them here for a meeting so that we can assure that it works well?
Yeah, that's
very simple.
so
to get the
obvious.
conversation going.
And yet we had never thought of that. But yeah, I think that would actually solve, or has the potential of solving, our problem, because they're never involved.
Okay, so if you know their pain and you know that you know the budget, ask them who else should be here. If we're sitting on a round table, who else should be here to help make this decision so that implementation goes smoothly. We need everybody.
Jeremy, I'm gonna go straight to do that for my next meeting. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you so
I hope
much.
it helps. Let me know.
No, it does. And like, it's so simple, but we had never thought of that. Appreciate it. Thanks.
Okay, great. I'm open. It's we've got time. Anybody else stuck? Any questions?
Hi, Jeremy. How are you?
Good, thanks. Great.
Great to see you again.
Thank you.
Great.
Likewise.
So based on your experience on international expansion, you know what we do in Authority, right? We process services, but our platform is very customized to every market, right? So whenever we think about expansion in Authority, like for example, we think about Mexico, that's a big step going towards there because we need to personalize our platform in that market, right? But what have you heard? I mean, you know, we're a B2C company. What have you heard about taking another strategy for expansion, meaning that we can launch in 4 different markets with a very niche and small products and start building our, you know, critical mass on 4 different markets instead of just going on one very strong. And my question comes because you led the Techstars expansion, and just maybe I thought you had like a guide on that side.
So I'm struggling. I'm confused a little bit. Give me a little
So
bit.
maybe
more
to
about
summarize,
what the problem is.
depth versus breadth. Depth in one
Okay.
market versus opening several markets with MVPs or smaller offerings.
Yeah, that's the question.
So I'm going to start by saying, you know, mine was very much a B2B sale, enterprise sale, actually. So my strategy at Techstars, and again, I don't know how well this applies. I was very much into identifying markets, even if they were smaller, and spreading out in that direction. So in other words, we did extensive analysis of cities that could support an accelerator. And obviously, there are many large cities that could support more than 1 or 2 or even 3 accelerators, a Techstar accelerator, let alone others. But I was a fan of going after, you know, obviously I needed an accelerator in New York City, but I was also a big fan of going after very local, hyper-local markets. So I guess in that regard, I would say I'm for that and spreading out. So I looked at what we would call, and by no means this derogatory, a second tier city that may have a smaller potential funding base, but we had greater impact. So I would do an analysis, where I'm going to have the greatest impact and what types of locations. And I don't have a problem going after others. That'd be mine. But, you know, again, I'm being cautious in saying that because I don't have the B2C experience. I don't know. I hope that's helpful. Yeah. Well, somebody must be not closing something or stuck and they're hoping that it closes and it's not, and they don't hear back. Come on, somebody tell me.
Ronnie has the hand up.
Who does? I don't see a hand. Well,
It was
yeah, just lowered the hand. Hi, Jeremy. How are you? This is
okay,
Ronnie.
good.
Great to see you again.
Thank you.
So, yeah,
Oh,
we're
wow.
stuck, I guess. Hi, I'm Ronnie.
I found you now. Okay, good.
We're a B2B2B company, basically. The way our go-to-market strategy is through establishing a partner network in Latin America.
Right.
So we've done well in Ecuador as our pilot country. We've established here a strong partnership and we're growing strong. But what happens right now is as we're growing and starting to get new partners into our network, we're struggling a bit from our pitch and our proposal, our basically value proposition. We schedule demos. Demos are successful. There's a lot of interest. But then to move forward and have them actually either sign on through contracts or place the initial purchase order, we're having issues there. We're not moving as fast as we would like. Just to give a little bit of context, what we do is we look to lower risk of downtime in critical operations through the monitoring of power and cooling equipment. So the companies that we're targeting are system integrators that have been in the market for a long time, have already many units under service contracts, and have already established customer base. And our product is a mixture. It's a convergence of a SaaS. It's a cloud-based platform, but we are hardware enabled. So we need to ship off and they need to install a physical piece of hardware to be able to gather the data. And then the data is published through the mobile operators, the cellular operators, through IoT connectivity instead of going through the internal network.
Okay. Yes, I remember. Great explanation again, Ronnie. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so the word that jumped out to me and all that was, you said you struggle. You're struggling. What?
Yes,
Tell me
sir.
what that means. Struggle. You know, it's broad. Tell
So
me. Yeah.
in concrete terms, after we have demos, which are, most of them are successful, there's a lot of interest.
All right, hold on.
Yeah.
How do you define successful?
By the interest generated that they show, but the customer shows, and then the next step that we do is we sign NDAs with them. So there's a good percentage of NDAs that are being signed, which shows that they like what they saw, they're interested to moving forward.
So if they sign the NDA, it's all good, right? It's going to move forward.
But then we don't get actually to move forward and have them place an initial PO, be it for initial demo units, 5 units, 3 units, or whatever, and actually get them to have the product, try the product, promote the product to their customers. We're stuck at a lot of interest, let's say, at a stage where there's a lot of interest, but no moving forward.
Okay. So a lot of interest, but no moving forward. All right, so let's role play for a minute. You know,
Yes, sir.
everybody who's here the first time knows I like to do that. So give me the first 2 minutes of the demo call, how you set it up and what's going to happen.
Perfect. So System integrators, in general, we are facing a market.
Oh, no,
which
no,
is-
we're getting too we're gonna role play. I'm
Okay.
the system integrator.
Okay.
Let's
We're
do some planning and rapport. How are you, Ronnie?
doing well yourself.
Good, thanks. Okay.
Okay. So we have a solution that helps you differentiate from the competition in a highly commoditized market, both in terms of hardware and software and services. And what we're able to have you do is provide remote monitoring services to your customers to lower the risk of downtime with two key factors. First, our hardware can integrate with any unit, doesn't matter who is the vendor, the model, or how old the unit is. And secondly, we do not have to use the customer's network, but through connectivity with the mobile operators,
Ronnie,
the data is
question for you.
published.
Sorry, Ronnie.
Yes.
Are we gonna do a demo?
Yes, of course.
Oh, okay. I see a lot of hands up. Do you wanna, is this in comment to this, or are we gonna do something separate with the hands that are up?
I guess everyone has their own issue that they
Okay,
want to
good.
share as
All
well.
right, so we'll continue. All right, Ronnie, when are you gonna tell me what's gonna happen at the end of the meeting?
In terms of having them join our partner network, or what would you mean?
Yeah, I mean, you're doing a demo. I wanna know what's gonna happen.
Yeah, I
Let's
mean,
reverse. I'll role play. Ronnie, nice to
Okay.
meet you. How are you today?
doing well. How are you?
Good, thanks. Ronnie, we're gonna do a demo today, and before we get started, I just want to make sure that we're, at the end, we might have some alignment. I'm going to ask you a lot of questions about how you work and why you might be interested in this. Is you okay with a bunch of questions?
Of course.
And I'd like you to ask me questions as well. Questions about our company, how we work, how we integrate, things like that. You'll feel comfortable, and you would interrupt me, right?
Yes.
And here's the thing, Ronnie, we're going to go through this. And what I'm hoping is that at the end of this, we'll be happy. But if I don't think I can help you or you can help me, are you okay perhaps if I tell you no?
Sure.
And would you tell me no if this doesn't feel right to you?
I would. Yes.
Okay, what could happen though is that we're gonna do this demo and you could be really excited. And really excited means, let me tell you what really excited means. Really excited means that you'll turn to me at the end and say, let's do an NDA. We want to do this. But my biggest concern is you might tell me something like, we need to think it over, or I need some time, something like that. Now, don't take this the wrong way, but that could be a polite way of saying no. I just want to be sure that if we get to the point where we're both at a yes means NDA, and within 2 weeks, we're going to go to the next step. We're not there yet, but you okay with maybe having that conversation at the end?
Absolutely.
Okay, now let me stop here for a second. All right, let's dissect that. What did I do psychologically there? How did it feel to you? Let me ask you that. How did it feel to you?
It was comfortable.
Why? How come? What made it comfortable?
Because in a way you're being respectful and asking for permission to do what you want to do, but with my consent.
Okay, what else? Did anybody, what else did people feel?
I would say clarity, meaning of what's how the meeting is going to go, a little bit of an agenda, and it's clear what the objective is at the end of the meeting, and not just going through a product description or a demo.
Okay, so let's get some takeaways here. I saw, Gregorio, let's see, we have some comments here. It feels important in the beginning to qualify the problem and have them identify. Okay, hopefully we did that before the demo. Give the freedom to be transparent. No hard feelings. Great. Why would I do something like that? What's the point of saying, I might tell you no, you might tell me no?
So as somebody said in the chat, setting expectations in the sense that
Right.
My clear expectation as I'm providing the demo is to sign you on as a partner And if I feel that I'm not getting your attention or if I won't add value to you, then I'll just let you know that you don't
Yeah.
fit my profile.
Okay, so I did this in a specific order. I usually do these kinds of things. I get permission to ask questions, give you permission to ask questions. I get permission to say no, I give permission to say no, and then I say what yes is. So just as a matter of psychology, no sets up the yes. So I always do the no's and then the yes. And so that's an important structure. But more importantly, what I did was I set the next step. What I heard from the first round was you didn't, that next step has to be established right away. They have to know what's expected of them at the end of the meeting. They can tell me yes or no, and I'm okay. You know, obviously I want a yes, but the expectation has to be set. So I'm going to ask you to think about setting the expectation of what they have to do. And also, I did something else at the very end. I dealt with something. What does think it over mean?
Yeah, I mean, being straightforward and saying, putting also a deadline, saying the 2 weeks.
No, it means you're the only one thinking it over. They're not thinking it over. Thinking over means no. It's a polite way of saying no. And I've often said to people, you know, think it over. Gee, is that just a polite way of saying no? Because I'd rather you tell me no.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, so I set up the expectations that think it over is a no. If you want to tell me no, fine, just tell me no. I'm not interested in thinking it over. If they say, no, I really need to think it over, can you share with me what that think it over process looks like?
Got it.
Really important question. System. Okay, Alberto,
Thank you very much.
what's up?
Hi, everybody. Hi, Jeremy. Nice to see you again. Well, I'm the COO of Publifier. We had a meeting a week ago,
Yeah.
and we have encountered many challenges that I think we were trying to overcome on the client side. We're talking to B2B agencies, media agencies, and brands, companies that have many fast consumer
Very hard.
brands, and
Yeah,
very hard. Yes, I was actually when I was reviewing what I could ask in this session, and hearing the first role play with Stephanie, we are facing a challenging of, you know, like everybody, I would assume, like closing a client, but where I'm having a lot of issues is on this cold email or cold phone call or cold WhatsApp message to someone to try to, you know, set up a meeting, set up a demo, and of course you can go to your contact list, you know, to have something in common, let's say LinkedIn, share an interest or a lot of options. But I don't know, from your experience, like what would you suggest to, you know, break the ice when trying to reach a difficult client where there might not be a common interest?
first touch, second touch, third touch. Give me a sense of
First touch. Let's say I'm looking for one of the biggest e-commerce in Ecuador, or one of the biggest food chains in Ecuador, KFC. To be, if anybody has a good contact, of course you can share it with me. I would appreciate that. But how do I approach that? I've done LinkedIn, you know, Sales Navigator. I've looked at my contacts, people that could introduce. But you know, I always feel, and Herman is looking at me, you know, because I always tell him, like, give me some time, you know, let me find some common ground, something that I could break the ice and not feel like, you know, a telemarketer or those messages that you would receive very often from an agency or from a supplier that wants to sell you something. You know, I want to sell, but that it does not feel like I'm doing the sales pitch to the manager or the marketing director of this book big food chain in Ecuador.
Okay, got it. All right, Leo, in general, we need a class on writing emails and cold emails and prospecting, okay? Just put it in the back of the, okay, back burner for a minute. Okay, so high level, 2 sentences. That's it. What is the number one pain that your prospect has? And if you recall from the class, please make it emotional. Use an emotional word.
Yes, it's a big challenge. I see that you're struggling in amplifying your message through influencers. I see, maybe that could be a start, and then
Okay,
go like,
let's work with that. I see you're struggling amplifying your influence you're amplifying your message to influencers.
yes.
Okay, I'm gonna define something here. There's what I call surface pain, and that's sort of what they're gonna tell you their pain is. Then there's business pain, it's how much maybe it's costing them, and then there's personal pain. Let me ask a show of hands. How many people think that might be surface pain, the question? Just sort of what's happening. Any business pain? People are afraid. Okay, a couple of business pain. Was that personal? All right, so let's do this. Give me, remember I said a how or what question to lead with in my email. What is the personal pain that you think that they have?
Maybe the time frame, like this might take.
Okay, time frame. Tell me more.
Yeah, time frame.
Tell me more.
Of course, cost. It's
No,
taking a lot of money
let's work on time frame. Let's work on time frame. Tell me more about time frame.
When working with influencers, it could take a long time to get a campaign flowing, to start getting the data from the influencers, to start getting big, to try to get on a wave, or try to get to a trend together with the influencers to align your brand with their message and their audience. Okay,
that's intellectual. Come on, dig on me. Make it emotional. How long's that been a problem? What have you done to try and fix it?
Mm-hmm.
Here's the question.
Okay.
I want a question from you. How should that person feel? Frustrated, angry, upset?
Yes. Yes.
What's the word that would be?
I think frustration.
Okay. Frustrated. So give me
or maybe maybe a little bit of that they feel that their hands are tight. They have a big budget.
Okay, my hands are tight. So what? I'm gonna lose my job. Am I gonna lose my job? Yes. Am I wasting money? Am I?
You're wasting money, and if
whose money am I wasting?
Yes, the company's money, and
who cares? It's the company's money. How am I supposed to feel?
Maybe trying to focus on looking at what your competition is doing. They're already working with us, and you're left behind. No.
What happens if your product or brand is? How would it make you feel? This is what I would, something to this effect. How would it make you feel if you knew that your product and brand was being left behind and you weren't getting the traction you're supposed to? That's a little bit long. I would shorten it up. Okay, but it's very personal. How would it make you feel if you knew that your product and brand wasn't getting the numbers or the traction?
Yeah, the disappointment, maybe.
Well, okay, great. Many of our clients tell us that they're continually disappointed by the lack of ability to gain traction. Want to learn more? Let's set up a meeting,
Like it.
more or less like that.
I will leave my
Personal pain.
Calendly link.
Many of my clients tell me they're frustrated because they're not doing this, they're worried about their jobs, whatever. Make it scary.
Yes.
Ready to
Thank you,
talk more
thank you.
now. Wait, no, I'm not done with you yet.
I'm here.
What should we put in the subject line? This is very important, by the way.
Yes, yes. When I was trying to do this exercise, I remember all the cold emails and WhatsApp messages I receive from people that, they search influencer marketing on LinkedIn and they write me a message, So how do and I received 2 days after. I hope this is not taking much of your time. I know you're a busy person and so on.
Well,
So
get rid of that
I don't
shit.
want to be
I
that.
don't want to hear that stuff. I don't want to hear that stuff.
Yeah, I know. I don't want to be that person. That's why.
Okay, so what are we going to put in the subject line?
Don't lose your job or something like that. Maybe
Oh, that's not
if
bad.
you want to be
What
bold.
else? What else?
Stop. I don't know. Maybe stop being frustrated working.
Oh, stop bad influencing. Stop. I don't know. Come up with something. Get me something that you, okay, we got a few minutes left. I want a good subject line. Okay, I got to go to somebody else.
Okay.
Okay. Yena, did I say that?
Ileana, yeah. Hey, Jeremy.
Ileana. Oh, Ileana. Okay, sorry about that. Ileana.
No worries. I'm having some connection issues. I'm going to keep my camera off. Apologies for that, but nice to meet you. I'm the CEO of Moli. We are a B2B technology company providing virtual fitting software for apparel e-commerce. My question is more so around pricing in the sales process.
Okay.
How do you approach pricing when an enterprise prospect, excuse me, with an enterprise prospect, when you don't want to max yourself out of their budget and you have the flexibility to provide discounts, but the prospect doesn't have an allocated budget or they don't disclose their current pricing for a competing solution they're using?
Oh, boy. There's a lot in there. Okay, let's unpack it.
Okay.
Is it pricing? Do you price between a band of, between, let's say, $10,000 and $20,000? How do you price, first of all?
Yeah, so we price per SKU, but also there's a couple different factors that go into it for enterprise. Also, for example, their volume, their peak volume, their average volume, there's more computational costs. So it's not a fixed price, but we do have a portion of it, for example, per product. And we are able to provide, more discounts and work with their budget. But how would you approach that if you don't have that transparency around, their ideal pricing?
Okay, let's role play
Mhm.
for a second here. Okay, lead me into the budget discussion here. How do you do it? How do you start off with that? I just want to, hey, Elena, that sounds amazing. Yeah. How much does it cost?
Yeah, so we would need to look at a couple of different factors. For example, your product, your number of SKUs, as well as your average peak and your peak volume, as well as your average volume. I'd love to get more clarity around what your allocated budget is for sizing solutions.
What do you mean clarity?
Can you walk me through, for example, can you share what your pricing is with your current solution?
No, I can't do that.
Do you have an ideal budget that you're looking to stay within for this type of solution?
Okay, let's stop there. Okay, I like that question better.
Okay.
So when I said, let me ask the group here, when I said, how much does it cost? How'd you like her answer? Anybody want to comment on that?
It was good. I think.
Sounded good?
Yeah, she
I
sounded
don't
confident.
think you got an answer though. It was a non-answer. It was like, it depends on you. So it's basically throwing back the ball in your court and making you do her pricing in a way, no? So as a buyer, you feel like all of a sudden you're getting run to the dry cleaners for the most you can spend, rather than say like, oh, this is how much I cost and this is how much you have to pay to get my benefit.
Yeah, okay. So what would you do? How would you approach it? So I'm big on questions. How would you start the budget discussion with a question? How or
Yeah.
what?
So what we typically do, for example, we do have, I do disclose, for example, per SKU, it's around $1.12 per SKU. Again, depends, that total price depends on the SKUs, number of SKUs for that retailer, they all vary. We also would need to look at a couple different factors for the computing costs. For example, we'd like to know what your average volume is per month, as well as your peak volume per month, so we can make sure that we're taking account different factors to optimize that service.
Okay, that's fine. Here's what I'd like you to do, and this is very hard in just a short session like this, so
Mhm.
don't worry if you don't get it. That's fine to talk about the $1.12 and all that stuff, but you ran on, and what I'd like you to do is shorten it and end with a question. So let's go back
Okay.
and do it again and end with a question.
Perfect. Yeah. So we have different tiers. For example, for the automatic virtual fitting, it can range around $1.12 per SKU. I'd love to get more clarity. Do you know what your average peak per month is for volume traffic visits?
Well, I can't answer that. I don't know what that would sound like, but do you need to know that? I mean, if it's $1.12, I know you told me you might go lower. What do you need to know at that moment?
Yeah, so in order to provide you a best estimate with the ideal service, whether you're looking for the manual, the core plan, for example, or the advanced plan, I need to know those numbers just to make sure that we're optimizing usage. For example, for the holiday season where you're getting a lot of visits and a lot of usage out of our technology, we want to make sure we're optimizing for that.
Okay, stop.
Mhm.
Sorry.
No worries.
So what I'm sensing from this is there's probably a range between $1.12 and I don't know, maybe $1.20. I mean, is that the case?
Yes,
Without
there's
optimization and things like that?
Yeah.
Okay, so typically we range somewhere between $1.12 and $1.20. I'm making it up, right? Per SKU. Before we go any further, does it make sense to continue talking? Now, what did I just do there? Why did I do that? What did I just do?
Qualifying if that range would work within their frame, within their budget. Okay, perfect.
Right? And if they say no, what's your next move?
I would say we can, I'd love to get more clarity around what would work within your
Stop with the
budget.
clarity stuff.
Okay. I'd
I
love
know
to get more
it's in
information.
English and everything.
Yeah.
But what are we, oh man, you guys are gonna hate me after all this. I'm shutting you down. Okay, between $1.12, no, it's not gonna work.
So my end goal is finding out what would work within their budget, since we do have
All right, so
flexibility.
ask me a question.
Mhm.
Ask me a question. Be curious.
So what would your ideal budget for this look like?
98 cents.
Okay, if we were able to see where we could make adjustments to come to that pricing, would you be interested in continuing the conversation?
Maybe.
I can get back with my team, see where we're able to make
All right,
adjustments.
no.
Okay.
No, it's fine. I'll get back to the team stuff. All right. Give you a couple of different versions of that. 98
Okay.
cents. I want a big sigh in there. Wow, 98 cents. Wow. I'll give you, I'm gonna do two different role plays, okay? I'm just curious. suppose I could, what would happen next? Okay,
Mhm.
psychologically, what am I asking them to do? What am I asking you to do when I say, suppose I could, what would happen next?
You're asking them to imagine moving forward, right?
Yeah.
To see how it could move forward.
Maybe, what else? Anybody had a feeling for that? When I say
You're
it,
seeing if
suppose
there's, Mhm.
what am I asking for there?
Validation if that pricing does actually work. Or seeing if there's any more reservations.
Yeah, okay. That's good. All right, I'm asking for a commitment from them. Suppose I could, what would happen next? And maybe they can commit it, but on the other hand, what I really then want to know is, well, what does your process internally look like to approve 98 cents?
Mhm.
Because I'm not going to get it unless they can tell me what the process is about.
Mhm.
Okay, now there's another alternative you could use. If you can't do it at 98 cents, right? And then we have a problem. Well, this is a role play.
Oh,
Elaine, we
okay.
have a
So are
problem.
you,
We have a problem.
am I the customer now or are you? Sorry, just
Yeah,
make
no,
sure. I'm saying we have a problem. Okay.
you're the customer. You said 98 cents, and I'm saying we have a problem.
What's the problem?
Problem is, I can't possibly do it for 98 cents.
Is there any, what's the reason why I can't do it for 98?
We'll never give you the services that you want. You won't be able to get the results you want. I don't know. I mean, does it make sense? I mean, are we at this point where you might want to tell me no? I'm just curious.
Not at the point, but I'm definitely, more, I'm not sure if that'll fit within our budget if it goes higher than 98.
Let me ask you a question. Suppose you really liked our product.
Mhm.
Do you have the budget, by the way?
We don't have a specific allocated budget for this. I can definitely see where it could improve certain areas, but we don't have a particular budget.
Oh, well, how would you get that budget then?
I have to, talk back a little bit with our team, but it would mostly depend on the cost savings, right? And how we can get that return on investment.
Yeah, but those cost savings aren't enough to want to do it. Is it?
It could be. I'm not exactly sure.
Well, what does that could be mean? I mean, what would that cost savings look like? Because if
We're
I
seeing-
give you that cost savings, would it make sense to keep talking?
Mhm.
There might be different ways to do that. I'm just curious, what would that cost save? All right, I'm going to stop the role play there.
Okay.
Let's, okay. I need some help here. Everybody's really been really quiet. I don't know. How did that feel to everybody? Anybody?
Yeah, it felt a little weird. I feel like it could really help if she had some like metrics or something to bring to the table. I think that could help.
Okay, so if we had a paying step, which we didn't do, I probably would have metrics. I might have said,
Yeah.
Yeah,
But-
like if you said
okay,
this
but
has
what-
helped other clients increase sales by 10% or 5% or whatever, but if you give something to the client, maybe they're able to like share more. And
Yeah, but what did I get at? What was I driving at through that conversation? In terms of suppose I could get it, or no, I can't do it. Why would I even say we have a problem? And when I said we have a problem, what happened after that? I went silent. I want everybody, here's the tip of the day. Silence is your best friend ever on a sales call.
I think you were trying to get information and build leverage.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So the point of all that was, I think you could get a lot more information, a lot more leverage by being strong on your pricing and asking things and asking more questions. I was hopefully sounded like I was digging down.
Mhm.
And what I didn't do was close the door. I wasn't saying I couldn't do it at 98 cents, but what's your savings? Is that savings enough to want to change? See, remember we said that the pain of staying the same has to be greater than the pain of change.
Mhm.
So I'm driving at, is there enough to want to make you to change? And I don't know if I can do that price, but what if I can get you your savings? That's what I need to know, okay? I don't know, I hope that was a little bit helpful.
No, absolutely. Thank you.
Time for one more?
that.
Anybody else? I got. Okay.
Jose
Esteban.
has her hand up.
Oh, okay, sorry, Leo, you want to jump in?
No, Jose had her hand up, so.
Who did? Okay, go, next.
Yeah, that's me. Thank you for choosing me. So to give you context, well, first and foremost, thank you so much, Jeremy. I'm Jose from Cuenca, based in Brooklyn, New York. In terms of the company, the name is AirPulse, and we are a B2B platform for office logistics. We help teams to book and coordinate local courier and messenger services for their project-based requests, so office runs, things like that. And at the moment, we have we are B2B, but we have a B2C approach, bottom up. We are really good at getting a foot inside of the companies, mid-market and enterprise, but we cannot move up once we're in, right? I feel like our point of contact are, because they are like office managers, coordinators, assistants. I think they're a little bit hesitant to kind of like push us forward up in the chain. You know, we've been trying some things out, like for example, being creative with how we approach kind of like the deal. Like for example, we've been asking a payment up front. That didn't work. We've been you know, trying maybe if they can pay as they use the platform. We've been trying with flexible billing options. It worked with one customer, but I think that the main challenge is how we get, you know, to build a long-term commitment, because they use a platform. Some departments inside of the company use the platform, like on Slack, right? They use it in different teams individually, but we want to centralize and make it company-wide, right? And I think that's our challenge now.
I'm not understanding the challenge. I'm sorry. I'm a little confused.
No worries. Let me give you a more graphic example. So for
No, no, no.
example,
I want you to tell me in 3 words the problem.
3 words. We cannot get to the decision maker to pay us. I don't know.
Too many. No decision makers, right? Okay. How come? Why are you talking to admins? Why aren't you talking to decision makers?
Because they are the ones using the platform. They're feeling the pain. The managers, the hires up, they don't even know the problem exists, right?
So if they have the pain because they're using the platform, they can then tell their managers to talk to you.
Exactly. I've been trying to push that, but it looks like they're a little bit hesitant. I don't know how to encourage that.
Got it. Okay. All right, really fast because we're coming up to the end here. So let's say you have a conversation and they tell you, you know, yes, we have lots of problems with the platform. At this point, I'm going to ask questions. Some of my questions would sound like, have you talked to your boss about it? Have you talked to, you know, other people and so forth? But I might start with something else. Sounds really frustrating. I'm just curious. Are you frustrated enough to introduce me to your boss so we can talk about it?
I like that. Sounds like an FBI, you know, interrogatory.
Like to keep it short and sweet. All right, Leo, what do we do next? Notice I asked a question, please, right? What do we do next?
No, first of all, Jeremy, first of all, we're very thankful for your time. This was a challenge of a session because everyone has different needs, but I'm certain that everything that you have shared has been of use of everyone because you're touching different points of the sales process. So for now, I think that if anyone is interested in contacting you specifically, let me know so we can make that happen. But I've written myself down that we have to have a session of cold emails going forward whenever you have time, because I'm certain that that's a common ground that everyone can have a good help with.
All right, let me just, oh, Fernando, yeah, okay, I was gonna.
Should we also, you shared some material for the programa session. And maybe you can share that with this group as well, with the rest of the founders.
Oh, yeah, I mean, Leo, you can send it out. So let's just, is that what you had in mind?
That's a great way to start because it has a whole appendix of things to cover, so you can have a proper sales call.
So maybe what everybody can do to send to Leo would be, and it would be helpful to me because I want to make sure this is not a waste of time and it was valuable. It was a little free form, ask me anything, but maybe you could, everybody could send one thing they took away from the session, positive or negative, to Leo. One, you know, I like this, or I thought that was interesting, or here's a new way to think, something like that, and we could kind of review that. That would be really helpful.
Amazing. Thank you very much, Jeremy. I'll make sure that I get that, and I'm going to share your material with them so they can actually make use of that as well.
Okay.
Okay.
Everybody link in, whatever, we'll set up some one-on-one sessions, and you and I will coordinate that. Okay, good night, everyone. Good to see you.
Thank you.
Have a great one.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you very
Thanks.
much. Good to see everybody.